Gentlewoman yields back her time. Distinguished gentlewoman from Colorado is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for being here today. Mr. Dorman, on August 4th, 2023, White House Chief of Staff Jeff Zients sent an email stressing the importance of increased in-person work, stating increasing in-person work is a priority for President Biden to, quote, deliver better results for the American people, end quote, by improving teamwork and productivity within the federal workforce, which contradicts the previous statements. Folks have argued that the email was only sent as a result of a fairly aggressive letter that was sent from this committee, from the Oversight and Accountability Committee, by myself, Chairman Comer, and Subcommittee Chairman Sessions. Was there any confusion within your agency after this change of tone?
I think we did reach out to OMB to seek clarification, Congresswoman, because in response to OMB M2315, which calls for significant increase in meaningful in-person presence, the NRC had significantly increased our in-person presence in November of 2021, and the plan that we provided to OMB in May in response to that memo and got OMB's feedback, we were wondering if this email was suggesting a change in expectation. And so we circled back with OMB and confirmed that their expectation was that we move forward with the plan that we had provided to them. And they were really looking for, okay, now implement.
Okay, and did the White House email result in more employees in your agency actually getting back to work in person, working full-time? And if it did, then what is that percentage of your workforce that is back to work, working in person 5 days a week?
So, Congresswoman, I don't have that specific percentage, but in the first half of this calendar year, approximately 60% of NRC's work was in-person work. That memo did not, as I indicated, that didn't change anything because we had already had our plan, gotten feedback from OMB, and we're working toward implementation of it.
And are you still bringing more employees back to work in person?
So our model at this point is focusing on the purpose of the in-person presence. So we're really looking at how we're bringing people back and making sure that it's actually got the meaningful engagement, so that we're optimizing the way we're working in a hybrid environment.
Okay. Tex, could you please tell me what the agency's telework policies were prior to COVID?
So telework, again, was, well, like now, and thank you for the question, was handled still on a case-by-case basis. There was not as much telework prior to the pandemic. That has increased during the pandemic. We fortunately equipped our employees with equipment before the pandemic to enable them to work remotely, so it was somewhat seamless from that standpoint, but it was a very low rate of telework before the pandemic, and then post-pandemic it stayed at a higher rate. Currently, as indicated in the statement, where 85% spend the majority of their time in the office, and then a 15% are in a telework status, which is typically 2 days per pay period.
So what was the agency's telework policies when they were at their maximum with telework?
I would have to get the exact number to you. That would have been during FY 2020 when everybody went out for the pandemic.
And were you monitoring what employees were actually logging on and producing work products?
So I think the way that's done is via the office performance metrics.
And there were policies in place to track that, to ensure that employees were working during the time that they were home?
The supervisors are responsible for the employees' work, whether they're in the office or remote, absolutely.
Sorry, my time is running out. In April 2023, OMB issued guidance that called for increased meaningful in-work person work. Did this guidance result in any changes to the agency's telework policies?
That was for me, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes. We have seen a decrease of about 20,000 employees from the height of the pandemic until now that are no longer working in a telework status. So the actual memo, though, is the direction we were already moving prior to the memo, meaningful in-place work, and it is increasing. Our percentage is increasing.
Okay, and just quickly, Mr. Gibbs, what is your current reported occupancy rate in the NASA building for employees working full-time and in person? Because I'm just showing, since my time is short, I would like you to answer, but I'm showing that some agency headquarters reported occupancy rates as low as 9%.
So across the agency, on-site work is 66% right now for NASA.
Okay, my time has expired, Mr. Chairman. I yield.